We're getting our first taste of football in 5 months, and I can't wait. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So the rookies have been in the building for a couple days now, and our veterans are reporting on July 26th for training camp. We are so close to football again. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Hopefully, you guys were able to get some tickets to the practices. I know they sold out, I believe, the day of their release. So there's just a couple things I wanted to get into and give a little preview about camp before we get started with it. First thing, run down some position battles real quick. I think we're gonna make another video, kind of going further in depth on some of these, but just to mention a few now. I think the biggest one that people are going to be watching for is Mekhi Becton versus George Fant for that left tackle position. I think that's going to be an interesting one to watch. In my personal opinion, I think the coaching staff might have their mind made up already. And I see George Fant playing left tackle this year. Not to say that I don't want to see Mekhi Becton there. I think he's be dominant on either side. Just right now, it seems that the way they're leaning is to put George Fant there. However, that said, I would love to see Mekhi Becton come back in shape at the weight they want him at and just dominate during training camp and win that left tackle job. I think that's our best case scenario right now. Um, but regardless, either way, I think you're getting a left tackle who's going to be above average, and then whoever's going to play right tackle is you're going to have a solid to very good right tackle as well. Um, but yeah, I think that's going to be a really cool battle to watch, especially with Carl Lawson coming back, Jermaine Johnson, some of these guys uh, that are either coming back or that they brought in this year. It'll be cool to see them kind of battle these two linemen. Uh, Next, I want to kick it over to the defensive side of the ball and think about um, who's going to win the starting safety role opposite Jordan Whitehead. I think my mind leans towards Lamarcus Joyner right now. However, from what I've seen and heard, it seems like they really like the other guys that they have in that position: Ashton Davis, Jason Pinnock, Will Parks, Elijah Riley. They're very uh, deep with no star players. Now, could one of these guys emerge and win that starting position? We'll see. I lean more towards Joyner right now. Just veteran, has experience playing the position, played his best years of his career at the position. And also, I think the Jets brought him back for a reason. Guy brought in 1 year deal last year, season-ending injury, but they liked him enough to bring him back this year and see what he got. So I think really what it comes down to is who they like, who fits the scheme, and who's really going to run it the way Saleh and Ulbrich want it. Um, Now, I kind of see Ashton Davis and Jason Pinnock falling into the backup roles. Although Will Parks is a guy I like a lot. I'd love to see him stick to the roster and at least get some playing time on special teams and some rotational work. Another interesting thing I've been hearing a lot about is people talking about moving Bryce Hall to safety. Um, I'm not against it, honestly. I think, the kid is very talented, and I think it shows. He can work on his ball skills, but at the end of the day, he's a good coverage corner. I think he has the talent to play safety, um, and I almost want to say that he's a guy who's so talented you don't want to have him on the bench. Um, However, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they explore that and to see if he can fit into that, kind of like they did with Jason Pinnock last year, to get him some playing time. I think Bryce Hall is a guy who could benefit from more reps or even a position change just to get him more playing time. Um, Moving into another battle, I think doesn't get talked about enough is the starting kicker battle. I think that's really interesting because for the longest time, the Jets have not had a kicker. We had that 1 year with Jason Myers, and we let him walk. And I think kicker since Nick Folk has been a revolving door of average to below average kickers, and it is a trend that needs to end. Now, I think you got two capable guys in here, um, not Justin Tucker level, but I think that these are two guys that could come in and they'll make the kicks that they need to for this team. Greg the Leg Zerline and our boy Eddie Pinheiro from last year. Uh, I think that'll be interesting to see how that turns out. I only see them keeping one kicker, as most teams do. So it'll be interesting to see who wins that job. Does Pinheiro have the edge with a year of experience with this coaching staff and with this team? We'll see. Um, from what we heard in OTAs, it was a very close battle up to this point. So I think training camp is really where we're going to see these two uh, figure out whether or not they have a place on this roster. Again, we'll do another video covering a few more lower key position battles, as well as getting into the ones we talked about a little bit deeper. Moving on, I think one big thing that we need to look for is the progression of our young players. I mean, you look at guys like Zach Wilson, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, and all the guys that we just drafted. I think you really want to see them start to pick up the playbook, really put it to action on the field, start to get comfortable, build that rapport with each other, and hopefully once you get to week one, it makes it a little easier to gel. Um, Obviously, our biggest guy that we want to see progress is Zach Wilson, because at the end of the day, he's the end all be all for whether this team is going to be good or not. I say all the time, it's a very team based sport, but it's a quarterback league. Um, so we really want to see Zach Wilson take that step. Now, will training camp show us that 100%? I'm not going to sit here and tell you yes. Um, Plenty of guys will tell you training camp is a time for quarterbacks to figure out what works, figure out what doesn't work, try new tricks, see if old tricks work now. So you can't put a ton of stock into what you see at training camp. But what I really think you're going to see is, does Zach have a good understanding of the playbook? Is Zach processing faster? Is he, you know, making the right reads, making plays with his legs when he needs to? I mean, those are the things that you really want to see him put together this year, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to make him successful and thus make the team successful. And I think that's super important. But yeah, with that said, we want to remain realistic with our training camp um, observations and what we're reading out of reports and all this. You can't put too much stock into what's coming out of training camp. But nonetheless, it'll be a lot of fun to watch, and you know, hopefully some of the stuff will make us feel happy. The number one thing, though, um, we say it all the time, is this team has to stay healthy through training camp. We cannot have another season where our entire roster is on injury reserve. I believe for the past 2 seasons, the Jets have had the highest cap margin on IR out of any team in the NFL, and that can't happen again. Um, our uh, training staff and medical team has put in place a new program. I believe last year was the first year of it. Hopefully, this year everyone kind of settles in with the new program and it helps keep these guys healthy. Um, I would not let Carl Lawson even take a snap during the preseason. Um, I get too nervous with that kind of stuff. Um, Obviously, he's going to play a little bit, but don't overplay these guys when you don't have to. Um, but yeah, I mean, stay healthy. Becton needs to stay healthy. Carl Lawson needs to stay healthy. Zach needs to stay healthy. If you can get to week one with your entire starting roster, that is a victory for me. Because so long and so often we have seen our team decimated with injuries. You look at last year during the Tampa Bay game when Zach had arguably his best game as a pro up to this point. You look at the guys he was throwing to: Tariq Black, Braxton Berrios, Jeff Smith, DJ Montgomery. Not to knock any of these guys, but they're not our starting players. I mean, I love Braxton Berrios, and I think that he did a tremendous job when he had to step up, but he's not your ideal number one receiver. Um, So as much as I like him, we have to stay healthy so that we're not put in that position again, and just give Zach a better chance to succeed. Because what they've done this offseason is really stack up and create depth and create spots of talent on this offense to really, take away the excuses for Zach. And even if you have an injury or two, I don't think it's that big of a problem depending on where you have it. But even then, we can't be riddled with injuries again because it's just going to create more questions. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for the camp preview today. Make sure you tune in because, like I said before, we're going to do another video about the position battles and kind of see who stacks up against who and get a little more in depth about it. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that like button down below, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you always know when we're posting. Um, Again, podcast coming soon. Be on the lookout for that. That should be coming in within the next week or two, hopefully. Um, so yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.